Every day of the week will bring to you divergent views on news making the headline.
If people who commit crime are being rewarded with national honors, with national appointments, then where are we going in this country?
It's not about whether it was Jonathan or whether you are going to have a Buhari. It's the kind of political structure we run.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
We are talking about a Buhari who at 41 became head of state. The man did not exhibit the attribute of somebody that is strong intellectually.
So, comrade, you're saying if you become governor, you're going to bring back Okada?
Of course.
You will bring back the market women on the streets?
Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth.
On Core Digest, we bring all of this to the court of public opinion, where you are the judge. Welcome back. Much ado about transition matters arising is our attention on the show this morning, and we're joined by public affairs analyst ALEXTA WILCOX on Core Digest. Good morning. Thank you for finding time to come.
Yeah, good morning. And it's nice seeing a new and wonderful, beautiful face on set today.
Good morning.
That adds some tech to the whole show today.
Yeah, I think we should call it a gender balance, on the show. So we won't have two guys alone. We have to also have a feminine idea of what's happening around the country.
Yeah.
Then that means you're in line with the current realities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Balancing is everything.
Exactly. No, maybe we should start from there. The incoming administration. We have a male president-elect, a male vice president-elect. Prior to this time, there's been lots of argument as regards the involvement of the female gender. Is it really a function of the gender or functionality at this time?
I think for me, fortunately yesterday we are locked up in this in this argument in a media house, and my position is the fact that most times in our climb, women wants to be pulled up by men. They don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to dive into the fray to get what they want. A woman in our client believe I'm a woman, therefore I'm subject to a man. I can't be without a man. I can't be harsh without a man. I can't be without a man.
I bet to disagree with that.
So most women are like, no, but there are very few women. There are very few women who pull their weight. The majority, sincerely speaking, and that's the truth. The majority of women are laid back. You discover that a woman and a man goes to the same school, they have the same lecturers, the same textbook, the same everything. But when they get out, the best woman is thinking
for the
hair,
30%
shoe, bag,
I really don't want to agree.
They don't like taking the woman.
That's not true.
I'm sure you want to say something about that.
That's not true. Because I
I'm
remember...
I'm a promoter of women rights. But, in the course of my work, I have come to do such research. And research speaking, there are a few women that are up and
for me, women take first position in classes. And
yes, and that's true. If you go to primary school, women are more intelligent than men. That is obviously a truth.
But does it reflect in action?
No, yes. In primary school, women are more intelligent than men. Girls are more intelligent than boys. If you find one boy might be more intelligent than all the girls put together. But if you find more number of girls being more, in that first 5 bracket, primary, secondary school. But the moment they leave secondary school, that's where the problem. That's where the setback sets in. They start thinking of hair, shoe, bag, my face, my eye, my this,
not really the truth,
and a lot of things start dragging them back. And that's general. But by and large, sincerely speaking, there are women who could pull their weight, but they are not because they feel they are under the shadow of maybe sometimes culturally, sometimes expectation, sometimes just being laid back. I'm a woman. The next thing is marriage. So when the men are, even the older men whom they were beating in class, when they are struggling to get out there, they are looking up to that man to do 1 or 2 things for them, and they are not pushing their weight. When they're cooler, when they have that potential too.
Overall, isn't it now the fault of the men? For instance, the men who will overshadow the potentials of the woman. If for instance, a woman who used to come first in class get married to a man, one would have thought that marriage would have given a chance for her to express herself, her leadership capacities, and that should have been reflective of what is obtainable today.
See, I know many women that have just finished. I know a friend of mine that just finished university, had a very good grade in law school. And 6 months later, when I spoke to her, she said she's married. My husband said she didn't work. Is my husband. I can't do anything. I said the money spent on your father is a complete waste.
Did you ask the woman the challenges she had to go through in the name of admit and accept
in the name of marriage? I want to be a woman. I want to be married. Love in quote, honey, sweetie in quote. A woman deliberately sell her right. Why will a woman be trained by a father with so much money? It's not as if that this man is the one that trained you. Your father trained you. You're from a distant home. Is that the only man in the world? To hell with that man if he cannot promote your potentials. And that's what I'm telling women this morning. To hell with that so-called loving the big cash is buying for you, the mansion he's going to build for you, and to hell with that. If he cannot protect and promote your potentials, that means he's making you a spare tire, a liability. And why do we have more of widowhood in our society? I don't know husband that dies abroad. But because women make themselves subject. Somehow, I'm not saying you should fight. But sincerely speaking, when you want to go into marriage, you want to go into anything, from onset, set the parameters. You won't die if you don't marry that man. You won't die if you're not in a marriage. If you won't die, nothing will happen to you. So long as you know your potentials, you know what you want to achieve. I know many women that marriages, I like marriage. Don't get me wrong. Marriages have killed and they become nothing from what they used to be. I know many women that in the influence of having a man, I need a man, a man must do this for me.
You know, it's shocking that it's coming from a man, actually, because the thing is that society do not really celebrate women who achieve a lot. And so sometimes these women you're talking about actually relapse to what they are today because of the way society has presented.
There is nothing like society.
Because you see, society is you and me. Society is the pressure they mount on a lady who supposedly is successful, and they ask her, where is your husband? Where are your children?
You must have, look, having a husband and allowing a husband to put you in, to make you a kitchen object are two different things. There are men out there that are ready to promote you. It's just like, look, let me not...
How many are there? How many of them are there?
Many of them. Let me not just be... A woman will feel from... A woman that is educated will want to go and marry one illiterate man that cannot even use bottle to write his name, all because he wants a man to answer a man's name, or to want somebody that will pay her bills, that will just, I have a husband, I'm successful, I have a big car to ride, just because of that.
ALEXTA, I think we have a debate after this.
There is no correlation between these two persons.
I'm going to take you up after the show.
It's all right.
I'm a promoter of women rights.
Let's get back to business, but probably, maybe subsequently, we also find time to discuss this and begin to also talk about the relevance of the African culture, the impact it's had on the potentials and the capacity of women. If it's really possible to balance family with, careers, success.
Very, very possible. Okonjo-Iweala is an example.
It's all right. Let's turn our attention to the much ado about the transition ongoing in Nigeria. It's less than 2 weeks now, the first time Nigeria would have opposition leadership at the presidency. But what do you make of this banter of words between Olisa Metu and Alhaji Lai Mohammed of the APC? They seem to have contrary opinion as regards the successes or otherwise of the transition process, while Lai Mohammed insists that the handover note is yet that the APC is not privy at all to the activities of the departments, agencies, and parastatals. They have been told to wait till May 25. Olisa Metu thinks otherwise. What do you make of all of this?
Yeah, like you said, it's a strange phenomenon, very, very novel in our polity. This, like you said, this is the first time that a civilian to civilian transition is taking place. To the extent that, and not just one transition, a ruling party and opposition party. Don't forget there's no love lost between the two persons. One is licking his wounds as far as defeat is concerned, while the other one is jubilating in the favor of victory. So one has to rub it in, while one has to try to soak it in, and all whatnot. It's just because it's this strange phenomenon and within our climb. Transitions are necessary, even from a particular government, the same party. It's happened over time. Even from the same party to the other party, there's also transition. And I remember when in recent history, when George Bush Sr. had to take over from Ronald Reagan. He served as his vice president for 8 years. And when he has to take over, there were issues. Because what the president was doing and what the vice ideology of what he wants to do are not really the same. So from the time if somebody wins an election, in the UK, in the US, because elections are conducted every first Tuesdays of every November, and so it could either be 4th or 5th of November, and then inauguration is on the 20th of January. So between that period, the president-elect will start receiving security reports, which the president gets. Will start receiving security report, which the president gets, and so everybody will now become part and parcel of the government. Okay, to the extent that there must be a synergy between the two administration. Now you bring in your own transition team into the government to be able to understand what the government is doing.
I see.
Now, so as they are preparing their handover notes, you are getting insight, and any major decision that has to be taken by the outgoing government must be in concurrence. Must be in concurrence with your own team or the present team. Even when George Bush Sr. wanted to bomb Afghanistan, he has to take permission from Bill Clinton. Even when Bill Clinton has taken has won the election, is president in waiting, he has to inform him, and Bill Clinton has to concur with that action. So that is to the extent that there must be because you are an outgoing, you cannot at this point begin to commit the incoming government to a lot of liabilities or setting bobby traps for them. So whatever thing you are doing must go in tangent with what is with what the new government is going to take up. But in the Nigerian case, because of, like I said, because of it is new, it is novel, and there is similarly bad blood between the two parties. You know, the election was quite acrimonious, and we've not been able to come beyond election to governance. We still carry election issues into governance or into post elections, and so this kind of things has been expected.
Okay, now ALEXTA, at what point does the incoming administration form a parallel government in the process of transition?
From the day it is declared winner.
But is that constitutional?
It's not a constitutional thing. It's a procedural thing. You understand? You are supposed to have a transition arrangement. It's procedural. Because you see, when we say constitution cannot carry nitty-gritty everything. You're not from a parallel government. You are only understanding and understanding what happens in government. You are not taking decision. A parallel government is a government that takes decision, that issues orders. You cannot go to the ministries and order the PAMSEC and give it direct to the PAM. That is parallel government. But a transitional government is the one that is studying with you what is happening.
Are they really getting it right at this time?
They are not getting it right. That's why Lai Mohammed is complaining. You know, common sense demands that you are outgoing. Nobody says you should stop operating. No, you still run your government. But there are certain decisions they don't have to take. You cannot now commit Nigeria to war. Maybe there was an issue on ground. You now commit Nigeria to war. Meanwhile, the Nigerian regime may not. I mean, you want to commit somebody to war in 30 days, and somebody come and take over, and then you now withdraw the troops again. You have committed you are setting booby traps for the new administration, and it doesn't all go well. So then? Before you do that, before you do such a thing, there must be communication.
I see.
Between yourself and the incoming. That is where it is on the table transaction. You know, so by now you should have even given them your handover notes for them to study.
Oh,
it's just like if there is a change of, maybe you are going on vacation and she's to take over from you. You don't wait till the day you're going on vacation, you now give me handover notes. You know you're going on vacation 2 weeks before now, and she's taking over from you. So you don't wait until the Friday you want to leave, you now drive a handover note on him, on her, and you think that she might have questions to ask, she might have issues to raise, because she's taking over your responsibility, your portfolio. So that is why it is. It is not a sudden thing. It's not as if President Muhammadu Buhari will not be able to function even without a handover note. He has done so in 1984 under the military arrangement. There was no handover note. They took over government on the 31st of December, and by 2nd of January they form a government and they start running. It's not as if it's impossible.
I was going to ask you that given this particular peculiar situation, what would be the real-time implication of having the handover notes 4 days? You know, because that's what the APC is saying, that promised to drop it 4 days before they hand over.
Yeah, 4 days of handing over a country, and the handover of a country that have how many ministries, how many parastatals, MDAs are there, projects are all over the place, there are stages of executions, there are finance allocated. You need to look at the balance sheet of the country. You need to look at the P&L, if let me put it that way, the income and expenditure account of the country. You need to everything to be, and you are giving the person 4 days before you run away. No, it's not as if it is a rocket science, but it's common sense revolution here now. That means that you give this man enough, because election was conducted on the 28th of March. By 1st of April, the result was declared. General Muhammadu Buhari was declared winner. Now, inauguration is on the 29th of May. That is how many months? You have about 2 months interval for this. Why couldn't you have done a handover note within a month, a handover, and give to them and say, okay, this is my position as a date, and then you stop certain major decisions. What you could not do in 4 years, you can't do it in a month. You stop it as a decision. Or before you take them, you consult the incoming administration. This is where we are, this is what we want. And so that they also know that as a date, this is where you are, and then before now here, this is what you have done. It's a country, it's not an individual pocket or individual house.
You used the word run away. Do you perceive the outgoing president as running away from responsibilities?
No, not. I mean, what I mean run away is the fact that you are not sitting on the seat to ask questions. You can be someone to ask questions. You can be someone to be asked questions. But of course, it will be out of place for you within a week of taking over. You're calling ministers to ask them questions. Oh, where is this file? Where is that file? Of course, they will tell you the palm sex are there and everything. But we also know how Nigeria runs. That most of the things are personalized. So, but if the man has a month, he will also have his team as to who wants to be Minister of Finance. He will also have his team as who wants to be Minister of Labour, Minister of Industry, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and this person will have interfaced with you on one-on-one based on your handover note. Okay, we need to clarify on this, we need to clarify on this, we need to clarify on this, and they get their own note. They also make their own note, so there will be a streamless transition. It happens worldwide. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. Even administration, even the same party. For instance, state governors are also raising up their own transition committee. Although now it has become what I would call a jamboree. I see. Because some committees are so large. For instance, in Rivers State, you're having almost a 15-man transition committee.
There's a state with 89 committee members.
Yes. Rivers State has about a 50-man transition committee, another 50-man inauguration committee. That is wasteful expenditure. Wasteful, what I'll call egoistic.
But when you say wasteful expenditure, do you expect that any taxpayers' money is supposed to be used during the transition process? Does it call for payment of salaries and all that?
That nothing in Nigeria goes for free. It's only the APC. I mean, I wasn't privy to that. I understand, from news bylines, social media, that the president committee the cost was about 3 billion, and the APC own was 0 naira. And when they were asked, the president-elect said he doesn't need, they don't need to spend money. They will come from their houses. They don't need hotel. They will come from their houses. They will pay their transport to have this committee. There are only people that will tell you that. But I tell you, from the way the country has operated, the moment any committee is set up in Nigeria, the first thing is sitting allowance. I'm going to come from Lokoja. I'm going to come from Port Harcourt. So my flight ticket, my hotel bill, and so that is what you get. But Naturally, it's not supposed to be. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. That's what you get. You get a lot of people. So when you have a 50-man, you think they'll come there for free? But by that they're sitting there spending money on entertainment, the fleet of cars that will carry them around. And so Nigeria is a wasteful expenditure country. And they have that, because if you need a selection committee in a state, you don't even more than 10 persons. 10, 12, max 15. Interface with the government. 15. Even they say too many cooks spoil the boat. You don't need all this large number of persons. And then you now spend a day to inaugurate them and start reading speeches and everything. It's too many ceremonies. The ceremonies are not conducted in private houses. They're conducted in hotel. You pay the hall you use, and so there are too many waste that is going on in the system. And I think that is what the incoming president is really against. He wants to fight it.
As it is now, you know, the transition, the handover note actually will come in 4 days to the day of official handover. Would it really be an excuse for the incoming administration to underperform because the handover notes came in late?
Certainly not. Handover, if you like, bring it on the eve of this thing. It's only going to give them a view as to where things are. Like I just told you, in 1984,
and it's not as if they don't have an idea of the state of the nation.
Well,
many of them are brought in government in different capacities.
Yeah, they may not have in-depth ideas of all the projects that is going on. For instance, Minister of Works might have over 200 projects across Nigeria, with various stages of completion, various stages of monetary investments, financial investments in them. Okay? So, the incoming government may not know all the roads, all the level of commitments in those roads. So, when you give me a handover note, you understand at a glance, and you can verify that immediately. Other than when it comes in, you now take about a month to now start looking at this thing. Now, for instance, if you are giving a month now, you can verify it. I mean, the team can be verified. Okay, yes, this is where we are. We have 250 roads. 30 is at 95% completion. 3 is at this. You know, you can have that idea. Now, alright, when you come into office, you now start looking for the files, calling everybody. Okay, what is it? But when you have it and you've already studied it, you hit the ground running. You know when you can even do under a supplementary budget within a space of 1 month. If you want to continue on that line, you just, that is what they call streamless. You just hit the ground running. Of course, without it, the government that knows that already campaign on certain parameters will know what.
You know, there are many who have made reference to the fact that this is the first time that the PDP will be losing elections at the federal level, and it's the first time that real transition will be taking place between an incumbent party and an opposition. Is that relevant to the reasons for the challenges being faced?
No, it's not relevant in the normal setting. It's not. But in our African setting, like I told you, the bad blood in it. Ghana has had this kind of transition, and in modern times, twice. When the NPP had to, Rawlings, after Rawlings finishes, the NPP swept the poll, they handed over. I mean, they had some acrimonious challenges too, because of, like I say, it's always bitter in Africa. It's always a bitter thing. So people don't always want to forget all the abuses and names you call them and everything, and the people also don't want to understand, feel the fact that I'm losing out all these flashy things and everything. So it's like that acrimoniously, but it's not enough reason for you to say I'm going to do this and that. PDP has lost election in the state level. They have lost AD, APA, and PDP. They have lost election at the state level. They seem to have had those issues handing over. I remember when Oshoba lost election AD to Benga Daniel. For weeks he didn't want to talk to Benga Daniel. But after a while, I think the elders of the state persuaded him, and he invited the transition committee of Benga Daniel, and he came to a formal. Even he didn't attend the inauguration. He did the formal handover, and they shook hands. If that touches the heart, I don't know. You know, when Governor Fayemi lost election, the first thing he said, after congratulating Fayoshe, he said, send in your transition committee, let us begin to.
But afterwards, you also recall.
Yes, even this man too. Even this man, the first villain governor of Ekiti,
Adebayo.
Yeah, the moment he lost to the first, that was what he said. In fact, he sent Fayose 3 cars, 3 official cars, as to support his trainers. Although unfortunately, Fayose really does not know how to reciprocate kind gestures, and that's.
Earlier, you mentioned Ghana. You recall also that when President Jonathan Mills died and the vice president was inaugurated, what's his name now? John Mahama. It was quite seamless, unlike what transpired when Umar Yar'Adua was sick and there was an urgent need for the vice president to take over. What really would you recall as the difference between
that's just the Nigerian factor, the impunity Nigerian factor, which I think to a large extent this incoming administration will want to correct. Now you see, there is the constitution, and there's the operation of the constitution. You know, people choose to do what they feel they want to do for their own personal gain.
And is that the right thing to do?
Very, very wrong. In fact, it's happening in every state. In most states, Governor Tuliban Chime, it was one of the respected governors. In fact, that's my best governor in terms of his performances. Anyway, it's a very poor state, and when a man comes in with mean resources and is able to deliver and actually clean up a city like Enugu that I used to know how it was under his predecessor. But when the man in governance, in the performance here, expecting governance and personal administration, he lacks a lot of. He's lacking seriously. You know, when he was sick, I was away. He didn't know about his deputy. He had it out to the chief of staff or secretary to the state government. So many governors are like that. They will be away, and the fact is, when you are going on vacation, 7 days vacation, 3 days vacation, you hand over properly to your deputy, but they don't. So that is the same thing that's the impunity we're talking about, that they carried along. Some even hand over to the Speaker of the House of Assembly. So that's what we are talking about. Things must be done constitutionally. When late President Yar'Adua was ill, as a matter of fact, that's why you see, and it's in Nigeria, had kitchen cabinet, where a group of ministers, a group of persons, maybe in connivance with the wife of the whoever is incumbent, will sit over administration of state. Deputy governors and vice presidents are sometimes meant to be spare tires. Irrelevant. You are just there to answer name, collect your allowance, collect your salary, and your security vote, and just there. But because governors or those who sit over, it's either they are not sure of themselves, or they just feel that when a deputy comes in, it's like they've lost authority. They've lost. President Jonathan has been victim of it. When Alamesia was away, when he was deputy governor, he was not even seen until Alamesia was away for weeks during that crisis. He came back immediately and took over. It was not even when he was impeached that President Jonathan, then Deputy Governor Jonathan was able to take over. Exercise authority. There are people who were ruling when he was away. So that is a wrong precedent. But unlike in Ghana, where I think they seem to be more open and more transparent and more than we do here.
But could there be other factors responsible, given a situation whereby the incumbent president had congratulated the president-elect even before the official results were announced? Could there be other factors apart from Mr. President himself? Because from what we could see, he had considered defeat. He's been called a statesman. Why wouldn't he conduct a seamless transition process?
That means there are more interests that overrides him, even when he was office as a president. You see, leadership is everything. If you set the standard and you punish deviant behaviors, everybody will sit up. But when you don't seem to be in total control, and there are other factors that are overriding your authority, then you get things like this. So it suggests to me 2 things: that actually maybe he was not totally in control. There are some factors that are either overriding him or over-influencing him in the things he did, or his concession was not in good faith, was just playing to the gallery, not having any other choice, or just wanting, like you say, he's been a statesman, to have that public admiration of a statesman, and so it was not totally in good faith. So, but which I don't want to believe that. I want to still believe that there are factors that really way behind, in fact, beyond his capacity to handle.
But the thing is, the Nigerian president is seen as one of the most powerful presidents
on paper
all over the world. So for you to say that he might not have control is actually
no. But if you see the attitudes of Mr. President, sincerely speaking, you pity him. It's not everybody that's able to muster that power. You see, Nigerian presidents also be that powerful, but we made them to be that powerful. Nigerians will submit. They consist there to get anybody's action. But because of our psychopathic nature, because of our personal interest, you want to promote somebody to his death. You understand? Oh, Abacha was promoted, was propped. Abacha was living virtually. Let's say Abacha was living virtually a hostage life. But everyone seems he was powerful. Because when the armed Mustafas of this war are the war really controlling, really pulling the strings, Sani Abacha was not coming out of Aso Rock. He was hauled into Aso Rock. But people were, but when people commit crimes, they create. Everything goes down to Abacha's name. You know, President Yaradua was not a so-called macho powerful man. They are the people that were really pulling the strings around him. So they write on either the ignorance or the weakness of whoever is in power to perpetrate this. And because we are a gullible society, where psychophancy, fear, and everything becomes the order of the day, we just dance along and we think the Nigerian presidents are powerful. Sometimes they are very, very weak. It was exhibited in the person of Babangida. Babangida was a very powerful president. But when the chiefs are down after June 12, people that went close to him, even before he stepped aside, knew that the man was living in a complete fear. For him to have stepped aside, people that went close to him knew that. So you can be powerful to a point, but it is the people that today nobody's around. Yesterday he was in church to give thanks. How many of those sacrifices did you see there? Because the table has changed. And if President-elect Muhammad Buhari will just give an inch to any of these sycophantic persons, they will also hijack him. But I believe that he has learned a lot, that he will not lose his guard, and he will remain a president that Nigeria has voted for.
Okay, now, you know, the president, the outgoing president, has said that he and members of his cabinet will be persecuted when he leaves office. Does this really have any relevance on the reality of the transition process?
Well, whatever they are doing now, because they are trying to create bottlenecks, or the persons around him are trying to create bottlenecks for him, then when you are being called to ask, when you are being called to question on certain actions, then you don't create persecution. Right now, you will have been very, like I said, by the time the election was won on the 1st of April, President Jonathan will have just, after conceding, instruct his ministers and everybody enough of where we have gotten to.
Okay.
Call in these people, let them start looking at the books now. Let them start raising all the questions. He
actually said it at the time where he instructed them to prepare their handover notes.
Yes, they were supposed to prepare it, and they said by 15th, I had either 13 or 15, everything in the government should have ended, you know, and the handover will have been on the 15th or thereabout. So, but now, he said, it's one thing that I said, it's either he's not in total control or he was not doing it in good faith. So, it's not enough to say in the media, I've entrusted my people to do this. You enforce it. And as at this point, you don't have anything to lose again. You can now step on toes. You can now, he sacked he has sacked a lot of people now. He sacked the IG of police within this period.
That's right.
He has appointed a new DG for SEC. He has made several appointments and within this period. So if you can make an appointment, you can also fire. And you can also bring people to account for their misdeeds, even at this point. So it's now you have opened the books. So if the other people are looking at the books now and asking the questions now, and then it will not be seen as a persecution. It will be seen as a honest discussion. That if you now leave and after May 29, the people now start asking questions. You said in your handover note that I just received, you have 230 roads. I'm seeing 250. We've seen 250 from other this thing. Or you say you spent 10 million. We've seen 15 million spent. and then come and tell us what happened to the 5 million. How did the 5 million come about? You don't call that persecution. You have already laid the landmine for that. So if you are called to ask to question, it's not persecution. It's you must answer questions as to your stewardship. That is obvious in every in every administration.
Well, they say government is a continuum, and we expect that for national development and progress, there has to be a continuity with successive government. Unfortunately, we've not even witnessed that within the same party. How much reality of that do we expect to see, given the nature of the transition process itself?
No, government is a continuum. I don't expect that, continue with the fact that if the government is having a project, then the project will continue. Okay? Now, I will expect policy differences. Okay, in policy, not in content. Now, in direction, not in the individual components. Now, somebody may want to, for instance, we're not even addressing the main issues of the society. I didn't say anybody talk about tax. Tax rate, and I didn't even talk about immigration. I didn't even talk about social. Okay, maybe they're talking about social welfare. Let's talk about climate environment. Let's talk about other sources of energy. You understand? The government didn't take us to that level. You know, I will expect that, okay, we've been operating a 30% company tax rate. That due to dwindling oil revenue and low government revenue, we might have to increase tax rates. That is policy direction. We might have to increase VAT, or reduce the components of that we pay VAT on and all whatnot. These are what other people do. So there might be a change in direction. Now we are operating a capitalist economy where this government has always been operating a government where the government don't see themselves to be in business. They are privatizing everything. Okay. The government might come and say, no, we want to have a more socialist outlook. So all those privatized entities might need to be reversed and or have a second look at. You know, but you cannot come and say a road that is being built in X location should stop. A bridge that is being constructed that will benefit people should stop. Or if they might review the contract. Okay, you might. Initially, it is 10 billion. No, from our own computation, this should not be more than 7 billion or more than 6 billion. Those
can that really work? A project that has already started.
Of course, you can review a project. If you discover, if you have
the middle of execution.
You can review a project. You can stop a project if you discover that project was not properly. For instance, you cannot just pick up and say to build this building is 30 billion. And when somebody comes and said, what? This bill cannot take more than 5 billion. You know? So such things, and then you open negotiation and say, look, let us reevaluate it. That is part of the continuity. Let us reevaluate this whole thing. Are we in the right direction? Are we not spending too much? You can have a service agreement that maybe would have lasted for 10 years, and you discover that it's not benefiting you, it's not benefiting anybody. They can terminate it at that point. But not because it's not, but just to have a review of what you have. It's not everything that the government is doing that the government will inherit. Any good job being done by a government, the other government will inherit. You see, it's only in parliamentary, it's only the parliamentary system of government where maybe like the British model. The French election on a day, the next day government is formed.
All right. Okay, Buhari's to drop his general fight to come May 29. What's really the relevance of this development at this time?
Well, he's a Democrat now. He's a repentant Democrat, according to him. He is someone that has... let me just say, this is the first time we're having a president that truly planned to be a president. Prepare, plan, worked to be a president. For 12 years, he's been on this frame. And he knows the fact that general is a military title. Nigerian are no longer in the military era. So it will be painful to me because I like calling GMB. To some of us, his fans will like using the name GMB. Now we'll be forced to say PMB. So of course, as a president, you won't be answering general.
But is the military tendency really embedded in the general status? Some are saying, well, actions will tell whether he's a general now or a Democrat.
No, that you're a Democrat doesn't mean that you should not exhibit what you want to exhibit. You are not exhibiting it outside the constitution. Formerly, he ruled by decree. Now, if he finds anything, if there's any situation now, what you need to do is to sit inside your office and tell your Attorney General to promote a decree. Sign it to law, no legislature to vet, sign it to law, and by tomorrow it's because operational. But now, even if you want to do anything, you have the Constitution, you have National Assembly, so you need to do some lobbying, you need to do some tactics, you need to do all this. Lobbying is part of democracy. You need to even coerce them, you need to do a lot of things. So you need to bring a lot of power game to play. Politics is power. Look, there's no America, apart from Bill Clinton and maybe Barack Obama, that are not members of the military in America. They are all military men.
I see.
Yeah, they're all military men, so they all have military training and background before it can be a president.
We have to round up now. What lessons would you say are there for Nigeria from what we see in the transition process?
The lesson is that we are mature and we should be matured. And again, when elections come, we should be more issue based. We should be more. That's I think for me that's the bigger lesson. We should be more issue based in our electioneering. We can call the names. America, they call terrible names. UK, they call terrible names. You can talk on somebody's character, but you don't make that the object of the election. You look at the issues, you engage on the issues, and then once one wins, the day the elections are declared, you are free to be angry, to be aggrieved legitimately. If you have any legitimate reason to be angry or to be aggrieved, you are free to do that. There are channels open, the tribunals are there. But the moment you've accepted defeat, you owe the nation, not even the government, you owe the nation, your conscience and the humanity a duty to allow for easy movement, easy transition, a good conscience in passing out the papers, in passing on information, so that the country continues to, because the country will always run, and I always make this, Nigeria will exist in perpetuity. I'm a Christian until Christ comes back. Nigeria will exist in perpetuity. So if you think Nigeria will end under your own watch, then you must believe in a fool's paradise. Nigeria will always continue. And government will come, government will go. Even Muhammad Buhari will know that the maximum he has, if he's in the second term, is 8 years. And Nigeria allows him. So when that time comes, he will still vacate. So when you are there, you do the best you can do, and you leave the rest for posterity.
Wow. Great parting words from you, ALEXTA, WILCOX. It was really nice having you on the show today. Though we have some unfinished business.
It's my pleasure. I'll be happy to take that on.
Of course, they say that the United States of America might just be dawdling towards having its first female president.
Oh, I would be glad. I had thought that would have come 8 years ago.
No, it's coming now.
8 years ago, I thought Hillary Clinton would have been the president and Obama the vice.
But for Nigeria, how soon do you see that coming?
Sarah Jibril was supposed to be a
she had just
and she had only
vote
even
during the primary election.
You see,
even while she was going out to vote, there were a lot of people following her.
Women
we are in the era of change.
For her.
We are in the era of change.
PDP has a lot of women folk. They never voted for Sarah Jibril. They believe that it's only a man that can give them what they want, not a woman.
But of course, ABGA candidates had some votes.
Maybe you are equal to the task.
COA candidates. She had some votes now.
A few thousand.
That was in the general election.
We are coming
that
up.
was the general election, but not in the party. Can you imagine the party not being able to give their own women folk 2 votes or 3, only her own votes?
ALEXTA, my word for you is just watch out for me. Watch out for me, and
I will promote you. I'm a promoter of women rights. I will promote you.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. We'll take a short break now, and we'll be back. Don't go away.
Thank you.
It is often said that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. But what about the things in life that actually inspire us to believe? Like the things that drive us, the things that move us, and even the things that remind us that the sky really isn't our limit. Because when we are inspired, we are led to future greatness. But first, we just have to believe.
One day I want to built Nigeria's first aeroplane.
I know. One day, you'll make us proud.
Rich and creamy peak, extra fortified with 28 vitamins and minerals. Here's to 60 years of nourishing dreams and inspiring the future. The future is bright. Reach for your peak.
Very interesting show we had today. Probably Omotayalo will be thinking of running for a seat very soon.
Yeah, of course.
You got quite some challenge from ALEXTA.
You know, ALEXTA actually expressed his own opinion, which I personally believe is not true. Well, it happens in some part, but you know, the thing is that women are actually standing out now. And I just gave him a challenge that I should really watch out for me and other women too that are actually taking the bull by the horn. So I don't agree with any of what he said.
A woman is on Call Digest now. Well, hopefully a woman will also be at the driver's seat of the Nigerian nation in a short while.
Very possible.
It's all right. We'll follow up on the transition process in the course of the week. Countdown to May 29. It's the first time that an opposition government will be at the center coming in 2015. It was a dream of change, but the question now is how much change will the APC bring to the Nigerian nation? Until tomorrow, I am Nifemi Ogunsoye.
And I am Omotayo Alo, proudly a woman. Thanks for staying with us.
Every day of the week will bring to you divergent views on news making the headline.
If people who commit crime are being rewarded with national honors, with national appointments, then where are we going in this country?
It's not about whether it was Jonathan or whether you are going to have a Buhari. It's the kind of political structure we run.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
We are talking about a Buhari who at 41 became head of state. The man did not exhibit the attribute of somebody that is strong intellectually.
So, comrade, you're saying if you become governor, you're going to bring back Okada?
Of course.
You will bring back the market women on the streets?
Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth.
On Call Digest, we bring all of this to the court of public opinion, where you are the judge.